That's for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff. But
Angel Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
Brandon,
We
you want one
can't, we
quick
can't, we
question?
can't ask Rashad questions.
Hey, Rashad.
Yo. Welcome back to the channel. My name is Rashad Milligan. As always, if you're new to the channel, this is the Road to 5K subs. Without further ado, you see the title, you know what's going on. Our annual trip of the year, annual video of the year, man. We do this every single year. Like I said, it's one of my favorite times of the year, one of my favorite videos to do on this channel every single year. That's bringing on Akiem to talk about his women's basketball NCAA tournament bracket. Akiem, how are you feeling, sir? Hey!
I am just trying to be as every bit as good as yourself, man. Like, as you can probably guess, I've been on the road. Of course, I've been doing the whole high school thing, but also the college thing as well, both South Carolina and North Carolina. I just came from Wake Forest working their state championship games up there. So it is kind of a bit of a refresher to just kind of get a little bit of a breather from all this traveling I've been doing.
No. I understand. I understand for sure. And like you say, you guys had state championships and everything like that recently and stuff. So, or right now, like around this time period of the year. So, I know it's a grind and stuff like that. But you're wearing it well, man. You're wearing it well. You don't look too tired. Came on here, you know.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, absolutely. I'll definitely always make time. It is what it is. You and me, we go way back.
Yeah, for sure. I appreciate it, Keem. I appreciate the support every single year. Now let's get into it, man. Without further ado, I'm gonna pull up my bracket, which I filled out half sleep at 1 a.m. last night. But this time we'll have Keem go through his bracket. He already has his bracket pulled up. He's on his phone, not his laptop, so I'm sharing my bracket as a reference of which games are being played. So with that being said, UCLA, and then University of California, San Diego versus Southern. Who do you have there in that matchup?
It didn't give me an option for the first four, but I know obviously I got UCLA in that game definitely. UCLA, one of the best teams in the country. Definitely a team to watch for sure throughout this tournament.
Yeah, no, for sure. So do you have Southern winning or do you have San Diego winning?
That's a good one. That's a good one. For some reason, when I filled up my bracket, it just went straight to that first round. But I guess I'll go with UC San Diego just to go.
Yeah, this is one of those things. HBCU teams usually perform well in the first four, like you saw tonight on the men's side with Alabama State winning. I know a couple years ago, A&T made a run in the tournament after winning in the first four, and last year, Grambling State for the men they also won. For the women on the women's side, Howard won a first four game, maybe in like 2023, I want to say it was. But other than that, HBCU teams haven't had the craziest success. Southern they won the SWAC regular season and the post in the tournament championship and stuff like that over there. But their team, they don't really have a superstar. They don't really have one player that can kind of like carry them above, competition that might be a little tougher. And I think that's always key when you're looking at potential quote unquote upsets, if you will. And so
Right.
I think in the absence of that, I would say Southern, great season, especially as a balanced attack, no superstar, great season. However, I'm going to go with San Diego as well. And if Southern wins and proves me wrong, hey, it is what it is.
Right.
And then I also have UCLA as you guys see there in the 116. Whoever wins the 16 first four game. Second game, Georgia Tech and Richmond.
Yeah, I got Tech in that one. Those are those 8-9 matchups. Obviously, can go either way because they are indeed 8-9s. But yeah, that's one where I definitely have Georgia Tech going on and advance into that second round.
Yeah, no, Keem, I think you were the one who told me about Tech. They had it rolling when they had it rolling late December, early January. And
Yeah, I believe
they're
so.
a ranked team moving up, and they had that freshman from New York, right?
Mm.
I think just with all of that, they obviously kind of tailed off at the end of the regular season there. But Had a nice little presence in the ACC tournament before ultimately bowing out, and aka losing. But I think just from that they can win this game. Richmond, I believe, was a team that won their conference. They won the A10 tournament. So that's how they got in. I believe. I might be mistaken. I'm just kind of going off memory here. Because A10 might have been some. Hold on, let me see. Let me see this now. Because now I'm gonna be thinking about it. A10 tournament, women's basketball. Give me a second.
Sounds about right.
Let me see who won this thing. Okay, A10. Oh, this is 2024. This is 2025. Let me see. Yeah, it's 2025. Okay, who won? 2025 championship bracket. It was George Mason. George Mason won. And I know that because George Mason is playing in Baton Rouge this weekend, and I was writing about it. That's how I knew about the A10 and everything like that. So Richmond got a large bid.
I see what you mean.
Did they? Hold
I
on.
believe so, because they're in the same conference.
Yes. They're in A10. Okay. Thank you, Keem. So they got a large bid. They didn't even win their tournament. I'm gonna go with Tech as well. But it's not much of a deep reason. It's just like Tech used to be good. Ole Miss and Ball State.
Yeah, Ole Miss. I mean, Ole Miss. I mean, Coach Yo has done it again down there at Ole Miss, and Ole Miss has been one of those teams that I've been following very closely here in the Carolinas, because one thing about it is that Coach Yo has really been able to really recruit well. Here in the Carolinas, there was I believe a couple of years ago from Greenville that committed there. The number one player from this past draft, from this past class 2025 here in South Carolina, Lauren Jacobs, she's going to be there next year at Ole Miss. So yeah, she definitely knows how to recruit, obviously. But yeah, that 512, I understand. Once again, 512s can be kind of big picks as far as upsets is concerned. But that's one where I got Ole Miss. I got Ole Miss taking it that one.
Keem, I don't know if you see on the big screen, but we got Today is a New Day in the building. A frequent commenter, visitor on the channel that said they got Ball State. LOL. This is yeah. Today's a New Day. That's my dog. That's my dog in the channel. We go back and forth all the time. Anytime I
Shout out.
the Atlanta Dream or Ryan Howard, they always in the comments getting on me like, just stop talking about the Dream. So, but that's my dog. That's my dog, though.
Nice.
What I want to say about Ole Miss. Ole Miss, like you said, recruiting in the Carolinas with Coach Yo. Obviously, Kennedy Todd Williams is the first thing I think of. Transfer from UNC and stuff like that. And she's one of the two best players. Her and Maddie. They kind of been holding it down for the last couple seasons over there in Oxford. And I just think they've built a sustainable and respectable program. And so I definitely expect them to win the first game. Coach O wanted a four seed or higher, so she could host the first couple of games in Oxford, and that makes sense. But hey, maybe next year. Okay, speaking of the 4 seed here, we got Baylor and Grand Canyon. Who do you have, King?
Oh, oh man, it's tough to pick against former Atlanta Dream head coach Nikki Collin, who's really done a really great job with that Baylor program. But like I said, this is one of those years where the competition in women's basketball, I think, is so spread out that I think if you're gonna pick upsets this year. And Grand Canyon 13 over a 4. I got the Lopes beating Baylor this year.
That's big. That's bold. I have a 413.
Oh yeah.
It's one of the more I guess popular 413 picks. And I know that 4 feels disrespected, as you can see on the other side of the bracket, and we're gonna talk about that later. But yeah, man, I played it safe with this one. I'm going Baylor. Like you said, Nikki Collins built a good program over there in Texas and stuff like that. So I don't know, man. Or she sustained a great program, I think is a better word to say. After the
Right.
Florida State, George Mason. This is in Baton Rouge.
Mm. Yeah, that's in Baton Rouge, but Florida State, Florida State has the potential to to possibly make a deep run in this tournament. They got Tanaya Latson at Florida State. So so that's so when I look at Florida State, I look at, how far can they go with Latson, and I would not be surprised if they made a deep run because she's just that good. I got Florida State beating George Mason first round.
Yeah, I'm with you, Keem, on Florida State. I was very hesitant, as you can see in the next round, not to get too ahead of ourselves, but I got LSU beating them in the second round.
Mhm.
However, Florida State has a really good chance of winning that game. Anything you say with LSU is a flyer. Like, you don't know because we just don't know how healthy they are. Like, or
Right.
specifically, we don't know how healthy Flage and Anissa Morrow are. Of course, they're going to play because, Kim Mulkey said, you're going to play, you're going to come back for the tournament. But still walking around in boots the week of, a couple days before, it makes
Mm.
you feel a little nervous, because if you are playing at a 60%, a 70%, and you say you push through to win the first game, like, you're not going to be able to just push through each and every single round. Like, the fatigue is already going to catch up to you not being 100% as is from the jump. And that's why I'm like, tonight, Latson is someone who went into UNC and hit that game winner or whatever at the buzzer. That's a formidable team on the road. I think it's a similar situation with her and LSU in the second round if that happens. And I think, like you said, Florida State could definitely win that game. And then NC State falls asleep, getting way ahead. NC State falls at the wheel, sleep at the wheel so many times, especially in postseason play. They can catch
Mhm.
NC State. And like you said, and now they end up, what I'm saying? Now they're in the Sweet 16. Now they end up, not the Sweet 16. Now they're in the Elite Eight. So, I
Mhm.
agree with you. Florida State has the potential to make a run, but I definitely have them winning the first game against George Mason. LSU,
Mhm.
San Diego State for you.
You're right. Everything that you just said about LSU, that's really the issue. LSU, when you look at that big three of Flage, Anissa, and Michaela, that's a team that has the potential to possibly maybe get to a Final Four. Maybe an Elite Eight, maybe a Final Four. They are just that good. The issue, obviously, like you said, is going to be, the health of that team and how they're going to be able to sustain it through a lot of those later rounds when they're going up against tougher opponents. So I like LSU against San Diego State, but just the health of, like I said, the health of that team and everything that's going on with them, it kind of makes me a little bit skittish about them going into those later rounds of the tourney.
No, 100%, 100%, Keem. And the next game, this is one of those ones that I was talking about immediately when it came out. Michigan State and Harvard.
Exactly, exactly. What more can one say about Harmony Turner and the story, just the, what she has, how she has really put that Harvard program on the map. And when I saw that, when I was, watching the bracket show, when I saw that, I'm thinking, okay, this is definitely a really good upset pick. And I'm going with it. I'm definitely believing the hype. I am definitely, on the hype train when it comes to Harvard. I got the Crimson beating the Spartans 10-7.
Same over here, like you said, Keem. Harmony Turner, I think coming off of that Ivy League tournament championship win, or tournament run, just period. They grinded out those last couple of games. They beat Princeton, a team that they struggled to beat in the regular season twice on two occasions, and they beat them in the semifinal, and then kind of drug their way. And Harmony didn't have quite the game that she had the game before because she literally put the team on her back with a program record 44 points, after previously
Right.
setting the program record earlier with 42 points. It just, or 41 points, I believe it was. It was 41 or 42 earlier this season.
Harmony just out here breaking records all over the place, bro.
Exactly. So after that performance against Princeton, she was a little more gassed in the championship game, and our other teammates came and stepped up in place of her. And that showed me, okay, this is a legitimate team. This isn't just a Harmony Turner show. And like you said, or we were discussing earlier, when it comes to upsets, you have to have a player that's dominant and has the ability to take over a game. Akiem, our alma mater, hey, nonetheless, for the viewers who don't know, we both met and went to Georgia State University. RJ Hunter in 2015 when we were both there. Wait, Kim, you graduated 14?
No, 15.
Okay. So we were both there at Georgia State at the time. I just had to make sure. We were both there at Georgia State at the time where Georgia State went down and faced Baylor in the first round. And RJ Hunter literally was the difference in the game because Georgia State was down by 8 with about 2.5 minutes. And it was literally just RJ just blacking out. And that led to Georgia State ultimately winning because they had a player who could take them over the top and take over a game. Steph Curry, when you think about way back, almost 20 years ago at this point with Davidson made their Cinderella run, but it's not possible without a Steph Curry. So you always need that one player if you are going to make an upset or make a Cinderella run in the tournament, I feel like in college. And I think that's Harmony Turner. She has the ability to do that. Shout out to Rock T too, man. Ricky Smiley Morning Show is a staple for Black kids for a generation. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Rock T, her pops. Yeah, for sure.
Right.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Oh, Kimmy, is there anything you want to say about Rock T? I know you're a radio guy.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure. Yeah, like you said, shout out to Rock T, shout out to everybody, like you said, the whole Ricky Smiley Morning Show. I've been fans of them for for years on years. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, shout out Head Crack. I know he's no longer on the show. He's on his own show, the This Nation Show and stuff like that. But shout out Head Crack, Ricky Smiley Show alum. NC State and Vermont.
NC State, Vermont. Once again, got to do a quick shout out to Vermont because another kid from the South Carolina area, Devin Yard. She won some state championships with Hilton Head Christian, and and is a freshman up at Vermont. So definitely got to give a shout out to her. But NC State, NC State, one of those teams that, when you think about it, if I remember correctly, they were in the Final Four last year, and is one of those teams that, when you think about it, should get to either the Elite Eight or the Final Four every single year. But especially with Wes Moore as their coach. But NC State, one of those teams that you just don't know how they're going to perform in some of those later rounds. We saw how they completely flamed out in that ACC tournament game against Duke. Interestingly enough, both Duke and NC State, both 2 seeds on opposite ends of the bracket. But in that first round game, I got NC State beating the Catamounts.
100%. I'm going the same way that you're going right there. I got NC State winning the first game, but like you said, they're one of those teams, like I mentioned earlier, they just can fall asleep behind a wheel at any moment. Rolling down to Regional 4, USC versus UNC Greensboro.
No brainer for me on that one. I'm definitely going USC in that game, going to the second round.
I got USC too. They do make me nervous. Like that UCLA game made me nervous. It reminded me of JuJu last year in USC, of like when JuJu is not making shots, who make shots. And it's like, it almost feels like nobody else is capable of making shots sometimes, which is crazy because Kennedy Smith has the ability, and so does Kiki Ariafin. They both have
Kiki
the ability.
Ariafin. Draft pick, by the way.
Exactly.
WNBA prospect.
Exactly. They both have the ability to hit shots and everything like that. But it still feels like last year, when JuJu doesn't have it, like the offense just looks, because there is no offense. It's literally just get the ball to JuJu and go. But yeah, anyways, beyond the point. I got USC winning the first game. Cal, Mississippi State.
Whew, another one of those 8-9s. I'm gonna go Mississippi State, getting the 9 over the 8 California.
This was one that I was battling with because I haven't really followed Mississippi State too closely this season. I looked them up and they had double-digit losses this year, 11 losses. And I'm just like, I'm just not really sold on them. Shout out to Carter and everybody out there, but I'm just not sold on them. So I picked where am you at? I'd pick Cal. All right. Kansas State and Fairfield.
Kansas State is one of those teams that is always Kansas State is one of those teams that somehow, some way, always winds up in either the top 15 or top 20 when you think about overall women's, college basketball rankings. They're always there. They may not necessarily be in that upper echelon, but they're kind of a rung below. So I like Kansas State getting the dub in that one.
No, 100%. Ioka Lee, I believe she's out for the season. But I think the first round, they should be able to get it done and win. Kentucky Liberty, Georgia Amore show.
Yep, you said it, but you took the words right out of my mouth. The Georgia Amore show, absolutely. Kentucky going in as the 4 against Liberty, the 13. Give me the Wildcats. Give me the Wildcats in that one.
Side note, Keem, why do you think Georgia Amore doesn't get the old jokes that Paige Bueckers gets?
Oh, that is a really good question. That is a really good question. It's interesting because I think it probably has a lot to do with I don't know. There's more attention obviously around UConn because I think they have more of a they have more of a legacy, I guess you could say, when you think about women's college basketball. So it's a situation where there's more eyes on a Paige Bueckers more so than there would be on a Georgia Amore. Like if she was at say a South Carolina or maybe a UConn or one of those, or maybe even a Tennessee, then maybe maybe it would be different. But who knows? Absolutely. But you good point, man.
And even Pau, you mentioned South Carolina. Pau like played 3 years at Oregon and then 2 years at South Carolina. Like she's played just as long as Paige Bueckers, but Paige is the only one that gets. Paige and Sedona Prince are the only ones that get the old jokes. And I understand the Sedona Prince thing is like for things outside of basketball as well. But
yeah.
But like the Paige stuff, it's kind of like it's like, oh, okay, all right. You guys don't say this about the other players. I don't know. It's just something I think about.
And then you have a lot of kids as well that have been using their COVID years. So, they've been playing 5 years.
Exactly. Which is like kind of led to all the old jokes. Like on the men's side, like Auburn, their starting lineup is older than OKC Thunder's starting lineup. And so it's like they better be number one. Their average age is like 24.
They're playing with NBA players.
Yeah, they're older than the OKC Thunder. And they were probably get slaughtered by the OKC Thunder. Anyways. Moving down to 6-11, Iowa versus Murray State.
Iowa versus Murray State. That's another one of those. Of those games that I could potentially see an upset brewing. Iowa, obviously not the same Iowa without Caitlin Clark. Still have some really good players there for sure. But yeah, like I said, another one of those situations where I went pretty upset heavy. So I'm going with the 11 over the 6. I think Iowa's going to be one and done this year.
That's a hot take. That's a hot take, Keem, for sure. Like you say, you went heavy on the upsets. Hannah Stalky averaged 13 and 8 this season.
True.
I do want to clip farm for a second. John Moran ain't walking out that door. Okay, anyways, we went viral. I'm gonna go Iowa. Moving on, Oklahoma and Florida Gulf Coast. The new coach, the first year coach down there at Florida Gulf Coast, led her team to an amazing regular year and a postseason conference tournament as well. And then Oklahoma, as we know, always a solid program and raking beers. So who do you have, Keem?
Is it just me? Or does every single time, regardless of, every single time the last couple of years, whether it's the men's bracket or the women's bracket, and we see Florida Gulf Coast, we're automatically thinking they're going to pull off an upset. Like we're automatically thinking because we know Florida Gulf Coast is going to be one of those like 12, 13, 14 seeds. We're automatically thinking, okay, they're the upset. Like they're the upset. I'm not falling for that trap this year. I'm going Oklahoma. Shout out my man Tyler DeLuca. I'm going Oklahoma getting the dub over FGCU.
Yeah, no, shout out to Tyler. I met him briefly in Atlanta last year. He seems like a cool dude.
Yeah.
The Florida Gulf Coast, thing. It's like because on the men's side, you obviously had Dunk City that put them on the map. Then you had the Brennan Goodwin years, and then on the women's side, you had Kirsten, who came down from transferred down from Ohio State and everything like that. So you had that entire era, and I believe she won a game or two in the NCAA tournament down at Florida Gulf Coast. So it's like they've always had players and moments that were just set up to upset big programs in the tournament and stuff. But I picked Oklahoma as well.
Right.
South Dakota State and Oklahoma State.
I think you and me may very well be on the same page with this one. Once again, another 10-7, but another 10-7, but I'm going South Dakota State over Oklahoma State in that first round.
Yeah, I think I just looked up South Dakota State's record, and they only lost 2 games or something, or they won 25 in a row. It was something crazy like that. It was a reason why I picked them. I don't know. Let me look them up right now real quick before we move on. South Dakota State women's basketball. Yeah, they are okay. Hold on. They are 30-3.
Oh yeah.
And they won the Summit League championship by almost 20 points. They won by 16. So I don't know. I just think they dominated. And then you got to look for teams like that those mid-majors that dominate their leagues. You can't just, they're mid-major. No, those teams dominated because they're that much better. They're good enough to probably play in a major.
And the thing is with South Dakota State, this is something that they have been doing for a number of years. So it's not like South Dakota State is one of those programs that is just now starting to emerge on the scene and gets a lot of national love around March Madness. This is a team that has been doing this for a number of years. So they're starting to become true to this, not necessarily new to this.
Now, there it is. All right, so moving down at the bottom of the bracket, the most controversial seeding and placement in the bracket. Number 2, UConn versus Arkansas State. Who you got, King?
Definitely for sure. Have a UConn in that one, but you're right. That was, and I remember they even did it during the bracket show on ESPN. They hyped it up is it gonna be USC? Is it gonna be UConn? Who's going to get that final number 1 seed? And it turned out it was USC. But yeah, Paige Bueckers, Sarah Strong, the whole crew up there at UConn. I got the Huskies moving on in to that second round.
Yeah, I think UConn's going to be fueled off of hate and anger, and that's why I have them winning it all ultimately, just because they placed them at a number 2. I think they took that personally. You look at the interview with Elle Duncan that the Big Three did of Sarah Strong, AZ Fudd, and Paige Bueckers today, and they were all pretty stoic. And Paige gave the PR trained answers, and that's amazing from Paige as a college student and things like that. I know you went to the UConn University of Media. At the same time, I read right through it, and I saw what you really meant with each and every single answer through all the questions. And shout out to Elle Duncan for asking the obvious questions just to get, because I feel like the nonverbal answered the questions more so than the actual verbal. So UConn's definitely pissed, and I think because of that, they will win it all. So there's my thoughts on it. I got them winning against Arkansas State.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, now moving over to the other side, we're going to start up from the bottom here since it's already showing. TCU number 2 versus Fair Dickinson.
You talk about TCU. I mean, obviously it's the focal point of all things TCU is Haley Van Lith, and it just continues to amaze me when you look at how talented Haley Van Lith is. The fact that she's an Olympian in 3x3 and how much of a journeywoman she has been. Louisville, LSU, now TCU. But yeah, it's amazing just everything, and as far as her story is concerned, also has been the butt of some social media jokes over the years. But yeah, I like TCU winning that one over Fairleigh Dickinson.
No, 100%. This was Haley Van Lith's revenge year. Pretty much her entire college career has been extremely solid and successful outside of the 1 year at LSU, and it just wasn't a good fit. Kim Mulkey had her trying to play point guard. That's not her position. She had her bringing up the ball instead of the most shots that she was making at Louisville were kind of catch and shoot. You know, she had time to kind of get her momentum into her jump shot. And when, you know, that versus bring the ball up and pull up, it was just a different type of thing. In the spots that she was getting the ball to catch and shoot, it wasn't the same thing, you know. So it just threw her off, all of those things. We got a comment from Carlos here. I'm going to put on the big screen. Salute, gentlemen. Hey, my luck is so bad. I will always lose my early host side of my bracket. Hey, Carlos, you should not feel bad about your bracket this year. I'm going to let you know because nobody knows what's going to happen. It was literally, if the number one spot ain't teach you nothing about this season in women's college basketball, nobody knows what's about to happen.
Nobody. This ain't like last year where so many folks were picking South Carolina because they were looking to run the table and go wire to wire unbeaten. Everybody's taking an L this year. So, yeah.
South Carolina took an L at home by like 20, 30 points.
The UConn of all teams.
Yeah. That was insane. That like in South Carolina does not lose at home. So
yeah,
it's been one of those type of years. Notre Dame finally goes up to number one. They lose right when they get it. You know, so it's been one of those type of years. Speaking of Haley Van Lift's journey, Louisville versus Nebraska.
And I got Louisville beating Nebraska, which means that I think that, and once again, great minds are definitely thinking alike here. That means second round revenge game, Louisville versus TCU.
Hey, man. I think Haley Van, if I'm not mistaken, Haley Van Lith, LSU, they faced Louisville, right? In the tournament, or am I making this up? I might be making it up.
I think so. I gotta go back and look that up when I get the chance.
Okay. But yeah, that'll definitely be something. This man Carlos, you gotta chill, brother. You gotta chill. Anyways, we're gonna get to the women's basketball is usually straight. I see 3 to 4 one seeds in the Final Four, and I see some major sides on the men's side, in my opinion. On the men's side, I can't even tell you, brother. Like, I ain't been watching enough men's basketball this year to tell you. All I know is Auburn is 24. They're number one. Alabama's had a good year too. And I know the entire SEC made the tournament except for LSU. So that's all I know about the tournament this year on the men's side. And
you haven't even been watching for future Atlanta Hawk Cooper Flag?
No, I have not. I have not been watching. I ain't been watching Cooper Flag. And like, I've seen 2 or 3 games of Cooper Flag this year, dude. That's it. I watched him against Notre Dame because it was like a Saturday, and I was just at the crib, and I think I just seen highlights. Other than that, I just seen that one game. I ain't gonna hold you. I just seen that one game of Cooper Flag. I ain't been watching the men's game.
I see what you mean.
I saw one of the Alabama Auburn games though. That was the weekend of All-Star weekend, the same weekend that UConn and South Carolina played. I watched that. But other than that, I haven't been watching. I know North Carolina isn't good anymore, and they still made the tournament somehow, some way. So,
West Virginia folks are really upset about that one.
Yeah. So that's literally all I know about the men's side this year. And shout out to my guy, one of my babies, Josh Hubbard. One of the kids that I covered in high school, whatever. He's the leading scorer and kind of star over there in Mississippi State in Starkville. So he's another one. Carlos said, let me tell you, you don't want to sleep on some of those lower seeds. That's why so many dang 7 to 10 and 8 to 9 matchups are so hard to pick. Yeah, last year, was it last year, the DJ Burns year? Yeah, it was, because it happened the same time around Bossman D-Lo having like the hottest records. And people was like, Bossman D-Lo's bringing back the traditional power forward. And DJ Burns like had his entire phenomenon at the same time. McNeese State, I know that they're pretty dominant or whatever in the mid-major side of things. So McNeese State might win a game. I don't know. Probably not. But, that's as limited as my men's basketball knowledge is for this year.
Same, pretty much.
All right, cool. But anyways, let's get back to it. Notre Dame and SF Austin.
Notre Dame and Stephen F. Austin. Stephen F. Austin, another one of those mid-major programs that seems to appear, every single year in the tournament. It has great regular seasons, but there is no way I'm going against Olivia Miles, Hannah Hidalgo, and then on top of everything else, like what you were saying earlier about UConn, I think the same applies to Notre Dame, because I can only imagine Notre Dame was probably going into Selection Sunday thinking, okay, there's no way we are getting anything lower than a 2 seed, and then they see their seeding by the selection committee and they end up with a 3 seed. I think Notre Dame is ticked off. I feel like they feel disrespected, and I feel like they're going to translate that into a long run, a deep run in the tournament.
Should have won more games.
They
They
should have
put y'all as the
won
number
more
one
games.
team in the country. And what y'all do, y'all lost. And then y'all lost again. And then y'all got to the ACC tournament and then lost again. I don't want to hear no complaining from Notre Dame. Y'all had y'all 1 seed lock. Y'all had y'all 2 seed looking good lock. And y'all kept losing. LSU, same thing. But LSU did that on purpose. They shut down Flau'jae. And then Anissa gets hurt. Anissa might be able to come back, but they're like, you know what? We're going to shut you down for the rest of the SEC tournament, Anissa. And they just lose out, and they lose. They lost about 2-3 games at the end of the regular season, and in the SEC tournament, they lost again. Like, it's like, so they get a 3. It just is what it is. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, yeah. I say all that to say Notre Dame don't need to be crying about nothing, feeling disrespect. Now, UConn, they need to be feeling the way. Because they ain't lose all them games, especially at the end. And I do feel like, see, I'm one of them people that's like, timing matters to me. Y'all be, oh, that ain't fair. Hey, you get hot at the right time, I'm going to reward you. It is what it is. It's like all-star voting. You get right at the hot time, I'm going to make you an all-star. It just is what it is. Carlos said the SEC is going to own the men's bracket, in my opinion. And Notre Dame is his sleeper pick for the women's side. Salute to Carlos. I agree with that take. Or I could see that take. I could see that take for sure. Okay, all right. Hold on. Let me move on up now. Michigan versus who is this? ISU. Is that Indiana State and Princeton?
I think I think so. Let me see. Princeton first 4.
Iowa State.
Yeah, Iowa State.
Oh, I said Indiana State. Dang,
Oh wow.
that changed my whole. Ooh. Hold on now.
Hold up.
Are we gonna do I might swerve in that corner? Whoa. Hold on tight, because I'll do again. Well, hey, I want to do it, Keem. I might do it live on air, but I'll let you go first. Who you gonna pick?
Regardless of who, I'm still gonna go with Michigan, but I don't know. I'm more interested to see what you got. What you got here, man?
All right. Salute to Princeton for making the tournament. I got Audie Crooks winning that first 4 game. All right. Here we go. Iowa State, Michigan. I might swerve in that corner. Whoa. Hold on tight, because I tweak in this and let that thing go. I got Audie Crooks and Iowa State headed to the second round, or would be technically for them the third round. But I got it happening because, like I said,
we got an upset up in there.
When it comes to upsets in college basketball in the NCAA tournament, it comes down to, do you have a player that can take over the game, be the best player on the floor? Audie Crooks is definitely that. If you know, you know.
Absolutely, for sure. And also, as far as Michigan goes, got to give another shout out. Mila Holloway played up at Legacy College up in the upstate of South Carolina. Definitely got to give a shout out to her. But yeah, I'm still going. I'm still going to go with Michigan, and at the very least pick chalk in that 6-11.
Hey man, hey, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Michigan. Shout out to the Big Blue.
Right.
Amazing athletics department, but I'm going with Audie Crooks. Okay. Ohio State, Montana State. Who do you have?
Yeah, Ohio State is one of those programs that appears in the tournament every single year as one of those top 4 seeds, and somehow, some way, they're always sending folks to the W. So it's one of those situations where with Ohio State, they're always in the mix every single year. They got that 4 seed this year, so I'm gonna go Ohio State, over Montana State in that one.
Shout out to Carlos once again. He said that song kills me. He said that man Jello from California sounded like he from the 9th Ward of Norland, baby. Norland, baby. From the 9th Ward. He from the West Bank. Jello from the West Bank.
That's what all these rappers doing, trying to sound like they from the South.
I might swerve in that corner. Whoa, whoa. He said he feels like JuJu has the most pressure to perform in the tournament because she's been hyped and pushed to be the next big thing. USC needs to make a run, in his opinion. I agree with that, Carlos, and I'm sure that Keen does as well.
What's interesting, though, about JuJu is that even if she doesn't get it done this year, she's still got 2 more years before she goes into the league. So she's still got some time.
And Kennedy Smith's a freshman. The only person going is Kiki. Yeah, well, obviously the big, but that big, bro. Y'all know how I feel about her. Like the defense is great, the rebounding good, but the offense just be. It almost makes me cry watching her. I ain't gonna lie on it. But Carlos said, "Wody, Wody, I got the gun, boy. I got the door. Okay, let me stop now. I gotta go outside." Ohio State, man, that's another team that be falling asleep behind the wall. I mean, behind the wheel. McMahon flicking off the fans. That's the most viral moment of the night. And then she airballed a free throw in the tournament. Are y'all serious in that? That's y'all best player, McMahon.
Exactly. She's looked at as a draft pick.
I got her as a first game. I got them getting the first one, but they be on. You know what I'm saying? They don't be locked in sometimes. Tennessee and South Florida.
Tennessee, South Florida. 5 versus a 12. I got the Lady Vols in that game. Tennessee is one of those teams that obviously went through that, if I remember correctly, went through a coaching change. You kind of wonder exactly like where they would be after what happened in last year's SEC tournament and the fact that they lost on that Camila Cardoso 3 from last year. But they've been able to rebound and they've been able to, get that high seed. So I like Tennessee in the first round.
And shout out to Kelly Harper getting the Mizzou job today. It threw me off a little bit because I saw a report there was like they were predicting Kelly Harper to go to Auburn. And Auburn, obviously, they fired their coach. Who was it? It was Johnny Harris they had as a coach over there?
I believe so. I got to look that up, but I believe so.
But yeah, they fired their coach, and I didn't necessarily understand that. I didn't understand that firing because I felt like she was doing a good job. Yeah, it was Johnny Harris. I felt like she was doing a solid job for the time that she was there. I mean, it's Auburn women's back. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's not going to be where it's just Don Staley didn't make South Carolina first year she was down there. She probably got down there 2011 from Temple.
I believe so. Yeah.
And then Asia Wilson doesn't come into the picture until 2014. You know what I'm saying? So it's like 2014, 2015. So it is what it is. Carlos said Florida's my sleeper team on the men's side because my Nova Wildcats were trash this season. I got there, Carlos. Hey. I have no clue about what either of them teams did this season, my bro. The last Nova Wildcat I know is Jelly JQ, Javon Quinterly, and he didn't even play that year. It was his freshman season before he transferred to Alabama, and then he transferred to Memphis, and then now he's retired from the game of basketball. Shout out to Jelly JQ, man. Shout out to
Wait, did Carlos just call Florida a sleeper team on the men's side? Florida's a 1 seed on the men's side.
I might swerve in that corner. Whoa. But I'm gonna go. Okay, Illinois. Did I already? All right, no, I ain't pick. Tennessee. Okay, Illinois Creighton. Yeah. Who you got, King?
Who I got? For Illinois and Creighton. Again, another one. Like what Carlos was saying, those 8-9s are so hard to pick. But I'm going Creighton. I'm going Creighton over the Illini.
Yeah, I'm going Creighton too. I don't know if there was a specific reason. I think it was just Creighton has always put out a solid basketball program the last few years. And, it's an 8-9 matchup. I feel like those are just toss-ups. And you can't pick the higher seed in every game. It just, you're going to have a terrible bracket if you do that. So, yeah.
Yeah.
Texas versus High Point or William and Mary, I believe that WNM stands for.
Yeah, that's William and Mary, the tribe out there against High Point. I didn't pick for the for that first four, but I definitely am certainly confident in my Texas pick in that one. Whether it's Rory Harmon, Kyla Odeker, and of course Madison Booker. They got a stacked team down there. Obviously, in Texas, it's just one of those things where you just better hope that they don't get that they don't get down, that they don't get start to get beat, because we know what Vic Schaefer gonna do. He gonna take off that jacket. So
Every
like
single game, man.
most famous crash out of any coach in the country. But yeah, I like the Longhorns first round.
Yeah, no, 100%. Shout out to Maddie Booker. That's another one of my babies that I covered
Mhm.
in high school and things of that sort over there in Mississippi.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got Texas winning. And shout out to Nathan Knight. If you remember Nathan Knight, Hawks legend, William and Mary.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Duke and Lehigh.
Oh, now you about to get me started about Duke. Now, see, like I said, I was telling somebody earlier, I've had the opportunity to actually watch this team in person at Cameron Indoor. Duke is stacked. Duke is a stacked team. Like from Reagan Richardson to Taina Mayer. I mean, they are a stacked team. And they're one of those teams. Shout out to Coach Carol Lawson, but they're one of those teams that kind of flies a little bit under the radar. They don't necessarily get all the headlines of a Southern Cal or a UConn or a South Carolina, but I'm telling you, Duke is a team that if I'm filling out a bracket, Duke is a team that I would pick to make a really deep run. I got Duke 2-5 over Lehigh, 215 over Lehigh.
I'm with you, Keem, and the reason why I picked them to make a run isn't because of like I've just been watching them all season, like you said, with you watching them at Cameron Indoor and stuff like that. It's literally because of the teams they beat in the ACC tournament. That
Including
run,
NC State.
exactly. I don't think that it should be slept on. They beat NC State and Notre Dame back to back. I don't think that should be looked over and just kind of glossed over. That is something that you should look like, whoa. So
Mm.
yeah, Kara Lawson, as you mentioned, has done an amazing job down there. Shout out to Fournier, the freshman sensation. I remember when she was coming out of high school, she was a big deal online and stuff like that. So yeah. Carlos, he replied to your Florida comment. He said, "I believe Florida's a sleeper team because they're not getting the respect as a one seed as opposed to those other one seeds in that aspect compared to those other." So he said the same thing 3 times at the end. But he was just saying he feels like they're not getting that respect.
I think that they're not necessarily getting the respect because Duke on the men's side, they're getting the most headlines because of Cooper. And I think Houston is also another one of those teams that's getting a lot of headlines because when you think about it, Houston on the men's side is the new Gonzaga, where they have all these great years, but they just can't win the big one. So I see exactly what you mean, but yeah, but you're right. My knowledge on Florida men's basketball is kind of limited. All I know is that Joakim Noah, Florida legend from '06, and of course your boy Al Horford, also a Florida legend. So
Well, Corey Brewer, I don't know if you knew this, King. Corey Brewer is an assistant coach with the Pelicans.
oh wow, really?
Yeah, I think one of my favorite parts of going to NBA games now, like as an older
Mhm.
person or like older in a young sense, is like just looking at who are the random former NBA veterans that are on the coaching
Oh
staff and on
wow.
the bench and now, like because you'll just be looking and you'll be like Leandro Barbosa is like the assistant in Sacramento. Like, it's just like random players, and I'm like, dang, I didn't even know you were coaching. Like, Karan Butler's been a coach for a few years. I think he's been with Miami for the past few years and stuff like that. Carlos, he was bringing up also North Carolina whooping San Diego State right now. He said it's looking like Eagles versus Chiefs.
Oh my gosh.
But if we go back to the topic at hand, where were we? Duke? No. Where were we?
I think we were at Duke, Lehigh, and then next after that
Okay.
is Vandy, Oregon.
Okay, Vandy, Oregon. Obviously, the freshman sensation, Michaela Blake, and then
Mhm.
Oregon, Deja Kelly. Who you got, man?
Because of the Deja Kelly factor, that is, that it was really tempting for me to pick that 10 over that 7. But like you said, Michaela Blake at Vanderbilt has been so much of the centerpiece of that program. I like Vandy beating Oregon in that one.
Yeah, she's been scoring like 50 points, 53 points. Like she scored 50 like twice this year, bro. Like it's crazy. Like she going crazy over there. I haven't watched her play yet, but I'm just looking at the numbers every single time she has a big night. I'm like, I can't believe it. I think she hit a game winner one game, or no, I might just be just mixing her in with all the game winners and stuff like that. But I mean, all the 50-point games. But
right,
yeah, I got her over Oregon. I think this is a sad ending of Deja Kelly's college career. Such a storied career over there at UNC. Really kind of was the face of UNC women's basketball for this era. Kind of like you can argue the biggest UNC women's basketball star since Ivory Latta. And so salute to Deja Kelly and a great college career. Best of luck to her in the pros. Whether that's overseas or unrivaled or
Athletes Unlimited.
Yeah, that was the league I was trying to think of. Best of luck to her moving forward and stuff like that. And then I know she's been preparing to do some broadcasts and she's been calling some games as well on the side the past couple of years. So
and she got some NIL stuff, if I remember correctly, going on too. So I feel like Deja Kelly's going to be set.
Yeah, she's been one of the top NIL girlies for sure the past few years.
Absolutely.
Fan of the channel too. She was on the channel a couple years ago. So Deja Kelly.
Right.
But it's over. One and done. Deja Kelly is one and done. But respect. Speaking of Deja Kelly, UNC versus Oregon State.
And UNC Oregon State, a 3 versus a 14, and I'm going Tar Heels. I'm going Tar Heels over Oregon State, to get the win in that first round.
Yeah. I got you right there as well. Tar Heels over the Beavers. And yeah, man. Carlos said, go back to Carlos. He said, to be honest, I haven't been able to watch much women's basketball. I've seen some teams, but as far as the bracket, I'm going bubblegum in the dish. I'm picking up the team. I stopped the song going. Hey, that's real. That's real. I think we're all doing that, Carlos, to some point.
Just about watching tape.
Yeah. West Virginia and Columbia and Washington. First of all, salute to Columbia for making the tournament. Heartbreaker right there in the Ivy League championship game. I was so glad to see them make it because I was like, their season shouldn't end like that. The ball just bounced out at the buzzer to continue and give them a shot at overtime. It bounced out. So it's good to see him get at large bid. But yes, Keem, who do you have in this matchup?
Who do I have? I got West Virginia in that one. And at the very least, I feel like the women, West Virginia getting the win will definitely make up for the fact that they, feel so hurt about what happened on the men's side when they feel like they got snubbed over for North Carolina. So, I got West Virginia getting the win over, over either Columbia or Washington.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'm with you right there. Once again, I'm big on superstars. JJ Quinterly, amazing college career. I think she's going to be able to carry them to at least one tournament win this year. So I got JJ Quinterly and West Virginia winning that game. And now here we go. You ready, team?
Let's do it.
4-13.
Let's do it.
This the one now. This the one.
Let's do it.
DMV matchup. So it's not like Maryland is sleep on Norfolk State. They know what Norfolk State is about. They know they're not a typical HBCU team because they got Diamond. Everybody know Diamond from the days when she was playing the big P4 basketball and hooping in. Everybody remember Diamond from Team USA. Everybody remember Diamond from. So it's like, and they know what Diamond's been doing the last couple years down there at Norfolk State, really turning up HBCUs in the MEAC. Shout out to Michael Vick as well. So yeah, Maryland's aware, but it's like you can be aware and still get popped in the mouth. You
That you
can be
can.
aware and still get popped in the mouth. So with that being said, Keem, who you going with?
I am going with the 13 over the 4. And see, the thing is, I know, Maryland is one of those programs. Maryland is one of those programs. Shout out Brenda Fries. Maryland is one of those programs that, in some way, shape, or form, is always in the conversation. But Diamond Johnson is a special player. I mean, and I feel like sometimes we throw that word special around a little bit too much. She is indeed a special player. And I feel like that Diamond Johnson is one of those that I feel like is definitely going to increase her draft stock in this NCAA tournament. So give me the 13 over the 4, Norfolk State over Maryland, Norfolk State, HBCU to the second round.
Welcome, Michael Vick, to what they say. Oh hell to thee, or they say something like I shouldn't even try. I shouldn't even say. I should just stayed in my lane. I went to Georgia State.
Yeah.
Uh, Carlos said, "Y'all have a good night. I got to get up for work, make this money that's leaving my pocket before the direct deposit hits." Hey, salute, Carlos. It was fun chatting it up with you. Thanks for stopping by. We gonna
Absolutely.
keep this thing rolling, sir.
Mhm.
But yeah, I got Norfolk State winning. I do wonder how Maryland's taking all this disrespect because I'm not gonna lie. Like I feel like majority of the people who are really in this women's basketball space is picking Norfolk State outside of
Mhm.
Maryland fans. So
Yeah.
I'm very interested to see and how they're gonna take this disrespect and kind of being not the favorite, almost in a way as a 4 seed over a 13 in the first round. But
Mm.
yeah, I got Norfolk State. Alabama, Green Bay.
Alabama, Green Bay. Another one of those, like you said, one of those 5 versus 12s. But I'm like I said, I'm doing an upset heavy bracket this year, and I'm going Green Bay. I'm going the Phoenix to one and done the Tide. The Tide is going to be rolling out of this tournament in the first round. I got the Phoenix of Green Bay over Bama.
Well, that one surprises me because Bama they just pushed LSU to the limit in overtime and stuff like that a couple weeks ago. Like that's a very quality team, and I got them making a little run.
Mhm.
But if you got Green Bay winning, man, I can imagine you got Norfolk State probably beating Green Bay in the next round. But we'll get to that when we
Exactly.
get to that. They don't love you, like wait. But anyways, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go Bama. I'm gonna go Bama that one. All right, Indiana, Utah.
Indiana, Utah. Um, if I remember correctly, if I look at my bracket and I look at these 8 9s, I think I may have all of the 9 seeds beating the 8 seeds. Eight's not a very popular number on my bracket, the way that I had it set up. So I'm keeping it going, and I'm going Indiana over Utah.
Pretty much the same here, Keem. I got Indiana over Utah. This was literally for no reason. It was just like Indiana's a basketball state and like a story program. That's literally done. Like it wasn't some well thought out reason. And then of course South Carolina versus Tennessee. What was it? Tennessee Tech.
Tennessee Tech, yeah.
All right.
Hmm. Right.
I don't even have to ask that question, but I'll ask Tennessee Tech and South Carolina. Who you got, King?
This was a lot of thought for about maybe 2 seconds. Yeah, definitely South Carolina. They're at home. But one thing I will say about South Carolina is, remember all that politicking that Dawn Staley was doing about why South Carolina didn't get the overall number one and why UCLA got the number one overall. Like Dawn, it's one of those situations where those losses to UCLA and UConn did indeed happen. Now, I will say it looks like that South Carolina has been playing their best basketball as of late, and they proved that in the SEC tournament. But as far as I'm concerned, like, I think the thing with South Carolina, though, and why I think they could very well be a pick to win it all is because of the travel. Because South Carolina is in the Birmingham region. So they got the first 2 games at their house at Colonial Life. Birmingham's not that far of a drive from Columbia. Then, if they get to the Final Four, they'll be in Tampa. So South Carolina would be playing the entire tournament in the Southeast. So I feel like that the travel factor could be the thing that gets South Carolina over the top this year.
Yeah, no, that's huge. That's a huge game. I got South Carolina in the first game, but yeah, that's something to look for. To play the entire tournament in the South is huge. Moving on to the second round, round of 32, South Carolina, Indiana.
South Carolina, Indiana. Indiana, it's interesting because if I remember correctly, these two teams, they met last year in the tournament. And Indiana actually gave them some problems. I That could very well happen again, but South Carolina is still a battle-tested South Carolina, so I got South Carolina in the Sweet 16.
Grace Berger isn't walking through that door. South Carolina. Okay.
Right.
Alabama, Norfolk State. Oh, well, for you, it's Green Bay, Norfolk State.
Yeah. For me, it's Green Bay. For me, it's Green Bay, Norfolk State, and I have Norfolk State over Green Bay. I think that, wouldn't it be nice to have an HBCU Cinderella, Diamond Johnson, and everything that she's been doing? So yeah, I got Norfolk State over Green Bay that second round game.
It'll be huge. A great way for Diamond Johnson to kind of end her college career and stuff like that. Starting off at where she started off. Did she start NC State or Rutgers?
I forgot exactly. I would have to look that up.
Regardless where she started, she made 2 stops, NC State and Rutgers, before ultimately ending up at Norfolk State. Had a great career, everything like that. So that would be amazing for her to make a Sweet 16 push. But I'm gonna talk about another HBCU great king. I'm gonna talk about Zay Green at Alabama, and I got Alabama winning as well in that second round matchup over Norfolk State.
Absolutely.
And I went with the way that I broke this down in my one-on-one video, which you can watch. I'll put at the end here for everybody who want to watch it. Is the height difference. With these things, the deeper you get into for the upsets, the mid-majors versus like the P4s, you really have to look at that size difference. That was the biggest thing that I took away, obviously covering our teams at Georgia State and stuff like that in the tournament. It was like those teams weren't better. They were just kind of bigger and like dominated the glass. Like they weren't more talented. They just had more size. And so that's why I got Alabama over Norfolk State. West Virginia and North Carolina.
And it's West Virginia, North Carolina for both of us. That would be a 3 versus a 6, and I got North Carolina beating West Virginia.
Same here. I got North Carolina beating West Virginia. Shout out to JJ Crinelly, great career. I'm not sure if she's a senior. It feels like she's a senior. I feel like I've heard of her for the last few years.
Yeah.
Duke and Vanderbilt.
Setting up a Sweet 16 matchup with Duke, North Carolina is just too hard to pass up. I'm going Duke over Vandy to set up that 2 versus 3.
Yeah, Vandy bright future with Michaela Blake being a freshman,
Yeah.
but I got Duke, the overall team that has it going. I got them one right there. Harvard, NC State.
Yeah, absolutely. So Harvard, NC State. I know NC State made it last year all the way to the Final Four, but there's just a little bit, cover your eyes and ears if you're Ari Chambers and you're listening to this, or you're watching this. But I got Harvard, another Cinderella. Like I said, Harmony Turner. I mean, she's another one of those special players. So I think I got Harvard in that, second round, pulling the upset over NC State.
No, 100%. Shout out to Ari Chambers, man. The NCAA tournament is so important. But I got NC State winning. I got NC State winning. It was Harvard, like I said, watching them in the Ivy League tournament. They really struggled those last couple games. And I know like the Princeton game was like a team that had their number, but they kind of dragged their feet or whatever against Columbia too in a championship game. I'm like, if you're barely beating teams like that against a team like an NC State, I kind of see them beating them. So yeah, I picked. That's the end of Harmony Turner's run. I hope she gets drafted, whether it be in the second round, the third round, and I hope she has the opportunity to compete for a roster in the W. And we need roster expansion. We have league expansion. The next step is obviously roster expansion to 15 players. I think, if you have roster expansion, you're not worried about a Harmony Turner making the team. You're not worried about a Deja Kelly making a team. You're not worried about a Haley Van Lith making the team.
Mhm.
Those kids are kind of shoo-ins, but that's a whole nother discussion for another day.
And they could do that with the CBA. We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah, hopefully, shout out to Angel Reese, shout out to Dejanay Carrington, really bringing that to the forefront in mainstream media discussion, even if it was something that Angel Reese felt like was misconstrued. It's something that brought that to everybody's attention that this was going on in the W right now. So,
Right.
LSU, Florida State.
LSU, Florida State. Again, it's difficult to pick against Tanaya Latson, but but also I just think that LSU, once again, like I was saying earlier, the whole conversation with LSU is going to be how healthy they are. And I still do think that LSU is LSU, and LSU is a Kim Mulkey team. So I hate to do this to you, Tanaya, but I got LSU going to the Sweet 16.
Yeah, you think about that SEC tournament game semifinal against Texas. They still were competing with Texas without Anissa and without
Mhm.
Paige. So I think if they can just get 50% of Anissa and 60% of Flage, and Michaela Williams can be like she feels like playing basketball that night because sometimes she'd be, where's Michaela Williams, and sometimes she'd be like, oh, this is the best player in the country, like it's almost kind of like Lay over there in South Carolina, but
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with LSU there because it's one of those things. If you pick against LSU and you got tonight lasting for the upset to give Florida State a run, LSU just shows that they're okay. Like they're like you haven't like we're still the LSU that you know us for, and then they
Mhm.
make a run, and then you're gonna feel really stupid if you pick Florida State in that second round. So I got LSU, man. Okay.
Right.
Ole Miss and Baylor. You have Ole Miss and Grand Canyon, I believe here.
And I think that we could very well be on the same page with this one. So yeah, I had Ole Miss Grand Canyon, but I don't want to pick too many Cinderellas. So I'm going with Ole Miss, the 5, going to the Sweet 16, beating Grand Canyon.
Yeah, I got Ole Miss going here. Like I said, Maddie Scott and Kennedy Todd Williams, just too much experience there.
Yeah.
UCLA and Georgia Tech.
UCLA, Georgia Tech. Once again, I got the Bruins in that one. I got UCLA. Once again, just all the talent that is on that team. Shout out to Coach Corey Close. I got UCLA going to the Sweet 16 against Ole Miss.
I'm with you right there, Keem. Georgia Tech just kind of fizzles out like they did at the end of the regular season. I think they do the same thing against UCLA. And UCLA is
Yeah.
like they're dialed in. Like you saw them
Mhm.
in that championship game, conference championship, of just like they were tired of losing to JuJu.
Yeah.
And they were like dialed. I never seen Kiki Rice that dialed in a big game.
Mhm.
And same with Lauren Betts. Like those, that's the team that always like they were good and talented enough, but they never could get over the hump in a big game. And I felt like
Right.
they've done that a couple times this year with the what conference are they in now? The Big Ten and the Big Ten conference, yeah, whatever the Big Ten
Yeah.
conference and the championship and the tournament, and then they did that earlier this season with South Carolina. So it's like they're
Right.
starting to show up in those big games and stuff.
I still can't get over UCLA and USC in a Big Ten conference championship.
Yeah. In Indiana, they're playing the championship game in Indiana. It's like so stupid.
Yeah.
So stupid.
Wow.
And it's now P4 instead of P5.
Yeah. I can't get over that. Not at all. Incredible.
Speaking of the West Coast, Coast, we got USC versus Cal. Right here for you, you got USC and Mississippi State.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think SC is gonna, I think USC is going to continue their run. So yeah, I got JuJu and Kiki in the, in the Sweet 16.
Yeah, same here. I still got USC going. Shout out to Dominique Davis, bro. She had amazing vlogs on her YouTube channel all season long, providing like behind the scenes content of the USC women's basketball team. Towards the end of the year, she kind of influenced Kennedy Smith to get into vlogging and start vlogging the team stuff. And that's where the JuJu Watkins, I hate UCLA, bro, clip went viral and stuff from Kennedy Smith's vlogs. But that started from Dominique. And Dominique, she put her name in the transfer portal, like I think right before the conference tournament. So Dominique, man, Wish the best of luck to you. I believe she's a graduate because she was a senior this year, so she graduates. So she's using that graduate year. Another year of NIL money, another year to vlog her adventures and stuff like that. Best of luck to you in the future. And I
Right.
definitely think you have a future in this YouTube stuff. If all else fails, you have a future in YouTube. Just stay around, engaging people. Maybe move back to LA if you need to get content. But you can definitely be a YouTuber or streamer. All right, hold on. Where are we at? Kansas State and Kentucky. Did you pick Fairfield? No, you didn't pick Fairfield.
Yeah, I didn't pick that upset. I picked Kansas State and I picked Kentucky, and in that one, I'm going with Kentucky to play USC in the Sweet 16.
Same here. I got Kentucky. Okay. Iowa, Oklahoma. I believe. Did you pick? I think you picked Murray State. Murray State and
Yeah, I
Oklahoma.
had Murray State in the upset. I had Murray State in the upset, but I didn't have Murray State in an upset over Oklahoma. I got the Sooners going to going to the Sweet 16.
I got Oklahoma going there as well. Shout out Reagan Beers. UConn, South Dakota State.
UConn, South Dakota State. I feel like South Dakota State has a chance to maybe give them a game, maybe for the first two quarters. But UConn is UConn, and UConn is a Gino Auriemma team, and UConn has a lot of talent. Obviously, give me UConn playing Oklahoma.
I'm with you there, Keem. I got UConn winning. Cinderella story fizzles out in the second round. Okay.
Yeah.
On the other side of the bracket, TCU versus Louisville.
TCU versus Louisville, the revenge game of revenge games for Haley Van Lith. And I think that she's going to want that one, particularly, like you said, given that's her former team. So I got TCU, beating Louisville. Shout out to Coach Jeff Walls. But I got your team out of here in the second round. I'm picking TCU going to the Sweet 16.
For sure. Shout out Jeff Walls. Shout out Jada Curry. Shout out the baby Randolph, baby Zebo, and baby Arenas. I'm going with TCU. Too much fire.
Don't forget Angel McCautry.
Angel McCautry. Hey, and AD Durr.
Exactly. Both former Atlanta Dream.
And there, but I'm gonna go with TCU there. Okay, Notre Dame, and for me, I had Iowa State. For you, you had Michigan.
Yeah, absolutely. This is like I've been saying. This is one of those. This is one of those years that I feel like Notre Dame is. Like you said, you were saying earlier about why Notre Dame shouldn't be complaining about being a 3. I think that they're still steamed about being a 3. So I got Notre Dame beating Michigan.
I got in my newly changed bracket of Iowa State here. I got Notre Dame beating Iowa State. Shout out Audie Crickstone. I might swerve in that corner. Whoa. All right. Tennessee and Ohio State.
And it was Tennessee, Ohio State for both of us. One player I really got a shout out for Tennessee is Talasia Cooper. She originally, again another Palmetto State kid, played at East Clarendon. Originally played at South Carolina, but just couldn't find the right fit. Has really found a good footing with with Tennessee. So I got Tennessee beating Ohio State.
Shout out to Talasia for sure. I believe I reacted to her high school tape. But
oh yeah.
I'm gonna go with Tennessee right there as well. Texas Creighton.
That's again one of those. That is another one of those games that I could imagine in some brackets. Some people are probably very tempted to pick Creighton. I'm not that tempted. I'm going Texas.
This is definitely like a year that you could look at Texas. You don't know what you're gonna get from Texas.
True.
I think
exactly.
After the first round, the only guaranteed win for Texas and a lot of these teams, I would say pretty much every team, after the first round, there's no more guarantees.
Right.
And, so yeah, but I got
and Texas. The 2 times they played South Carolina are proof positive of that.
Exactly. Okay, now dang, we're in the Sweet 16 already. Duke and North Carolina.
Duke and North Carolina. I'm on the. I'm definitely on that Duke hype train. Absolutely, but yeah, absolutely. So I got Duke. I got Duke over North Carolina.
I got Duke as well. Moving on to the Elite 8. South Carolina versus For me, it was Alabama. For you, it's Norfolk State.
And I know that that would be a game that would certainly mean a lot to, to Dawn Staley, because Dawn Staley absolutely loves, one thing about Dawn Staley, she definitely loves putting on HBCUs. Like, she definitely will give HBCUs their shine. So definitely shout out to her. But yeah, South Carolina, I got them, ending that Cinderella story. I got them beating Norfolk State.
Yeah, Don Staley loves paying HBCU teams to beat him by 80 points and then saying Black Pride afterwards.
True.
But I got South Carolina there over Alabama. Shout out Zay Green, amazing college career. Zay Green, Sedona Prince, been in college 20 years. So salute to both of them. But especially Zay Green, she stayed down. She went through a lot of kind of just like crazy narratives and stuff on her and stuff like that throughout her career. Stayed down through the HBCU grind. Started off at Tennessee. McDonald's All-American coming out of high school. Covered her in Atlanta when she was there 2018. That was the year with Zion and RJ Barrett on the men's side. And on the women's side, it was Shakira Austin as well. And Kirsten Williams and stuff like that. Kristen Williams. So, you know what I'm saying? So that's a long time ago. Shakira Austin been in the league for a couple years now. She's no longer a rookie. And obviously on the men's side, Zion, Cam Reddish, and RJ, they've had like their entire kind of run of stuff in the league. RJ's been on a couple teams. Cam's been on like 8 teams. Trey Jones been on a couple teams himself. So, just those things. Bowles been on a couple teams. He was also in that.
Right.
So, yeah. Salute to Zay Green. Amazing college career. But I got you losing to South Carolina in Sweet 16. UCLA, Ole Miss. This is an upset that a lot of people are picking for UCLA. Who you got, Keem?
Yeah, it's an upset that lots of folks are going with. I'm not one of those folks. I'm still a pretty big believer in UCLA. I mean, like I said, they're playing with a lot of confidence after getting those, big wins earlier in the season. Like you said, South Carolina, USC, I got UCLA beating Ole Miss.
No, 100%. And I think a lot of the hesitation and the picks for the upset comes from UCLA just getting frozen out in the Elite 8, Sweet 16 the past couple of years, the Kiki Rice, Lauren Betts era. Last year, Flage going stupid on Kiki Rice in the Elite 8 and carrying LSU to the next round and stuff like that. Or what was that? That was the Sweet 16. Yeah, because they lost in the Elite 8 to Iowa.
Right.
Yeah. But Flage went stupid. That's just a time that UCLA just freezes up for some reason. That Sweet 16 Elite 8. But I think this year it might be different. This is one of those things where you're like, I don't know.
It may be, but they're going up against history. You're like you said, but talent. When they got enough talent like UCLA does, they're like I said, they're playing confident.
And adding Janiah Barker this year, so it's not just Lauren Betts and Kiki Rice. They got Janiah Barker in the mix as well.
Marietta's very own Janiah Barker.
Janiah Barker from Marietta?
I thought she is.
Well, I know she went to Mount Verde, so I don't know where she's actually from. So with those prep school kids, you don't know where they're like actually from. Hold on, let me see. Because now I'm like, hold on, I might have to do a whole thing for. She was born in Marietta. Is she from Marietta though? If she from Marietta, is she from? Hey, come on now, don't tell me. Hey, I ain't gonna lie, it might get a little different now. No. She went to high school in Tampa before transferring to Mount Verde.
Gotcha.
I think she was just born in Marietta. I hope so. Because I hate to miss out on all those years of gassing her up. But UCLA winning, going to the Elite 8, man. And then LSU, NC State.
LSU, NC State for you, LSU, Harvard for me. It's one thing that I always love to do when I'm filling out brackets. I'm picking Cinderellas, but usually Sweet 16s are usually when when the clock strikes midnight for these Cinderellas. And I still am a believer in LSU. Even with everything they got going on, I'm still a believer in LSU. I got LSU ending Harvard's Cinderella story and going to the Elite 8.
For me, I got NC State facing LSU, and LSU beat NC State earlier this year during the Thanksgiving break in one of those Bahamas tournaments and stuff like that. And I think just based off of that, and then you just think about that firepower with Flage and Anissa, they're gonna bring it every single night. Michaela, like I said, is a wild card, but those two are gonna bring it every single night, and I think that firepower is gonna be the thing that gets them over. Because NC State, another team like UCLA. Just these teams that all this talent, they done got 5 former, McDonald's All-Americans, 5, like Maddie Hayes was like a big 5-star recruit out of Mississippi State, long live, rest in peace, Coach Nikki McCray, of course. You know what I'm saying? For sure. But like she was a 5-star. Sanaya Rivers was a 5-star. Gatorade Player of the Year from South Carolina. Yeah, exactly. Z James, like all these big name players and so much talent just oozing off the bench and the start, and they just always just freeze up around the 16, around the league every year.
Zan Jones is down there at over there at NC State too. Am I right?
Yeah. But like all those players, and then but they always freeze up around that time. Last year, like you said, they may get to the Final Four. They make that push. Sanaya faces South Carolina again. But yeah, I think LSU just beat this one is a guess. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'll just say this one is a guess because I don't know how healthy LSU is gonna be. I don't know how they're gonna be traveling, taking that plane from Baton Rouge all the way up to Spokane. NC State's got to travel as well, But I mean,
right.
I feel like the legs won't start running out at that point. No pun. USC Kentucky.
USC Kentucky for sure. One versus a 4, and USC is a 1 for a reason. So so I'm picking USC into the Elite 8.
Same. I feel like Georgia Amore isn't enough. JuJu can be off. Kennedy Smith can have a good game. Kiki can have a good game.
It's not enough.
There we go. or Van Hoffen can have a good game or whatever and stuff like. Or Avery Howell can have a good. That's another team. They had too much talent that they brought in. They should have been a super team this year. That's why they were like the preseason #1, and they just underperformed. It was still like if JuJu doesn't make the shot, what do I do with basketball in hand? Like, and it's so annoying to see them play that way, but it is what it is. I got USC winning that game because 5 is better than 1. Ironic, very ironic statement. Anyways, Oklahoma, UConn. I got UConn in this one. I know that's a 2 versus I believe that's a 2 versus a 3, but I got UConn in this one. And see, this is where I gotta get some bit off with the committee. See, the thing is that because of the fact that they put SC and UConn in the same region, in the same bracket, that means that we're going to get Paige versus JuJu in the Elite 8, when ideally we'd be getting them in the Final Four. So I guess I gotta settle with that. But they played earlier in the year, was a really, really, really great game. So it's so it's a rematch once again. But yeah, that's one of my Elite 8 matchups with USC and UConn, and I think you and me are both on the same page with that. Did who won the game at UConn this year?
I think I gotta go back and check and see. But was it
that game came down to like the final play, the final few seconds. Let me see. Hold on. Women's basketball. Give me a second, y'all. All right. USC won.
Yeah, it wasn't all that. It wasn't all that much. I think it was like 72-70.
Yeah, it was 72-70. JuJu had 25, 6 and 5. Paige had 22, 3 and 2. Sarah Strong, she was the real star of that game for UConn. She had
22 and 13
and 5. Yeah. Paige was almost kind of like non-existent, to be honest. And AZ was coming back from a knee injury here.
Right.
She only played 8 minutes.
So
yeah. I remember that game now, just looking at the stat sheet.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. That's what happened there. So they beat him before, and they beat him in UConn's house. Still, I think UConn's going to be fueled from losing. Oh, wait, hold on. Wait. Keem, you got me jumping the whole thing. Okay, UConn beat Oklahoma. All right, okay. Did we do Notre Dame TCU?
I don't think we did.
Okay. Notre Dame TCU and Texas Tennessee will be our last two ones, and then we'll get to the Elite Eight.
Absolutely. So in that one, as far as Notre Dame TCU, like I've been saying earlier, I just think that Notre Dame is one of those teams that I feel like is gonna go on one of those runs, and I got Notre Dame the 3 over TCU the 2.
And this is another one of those games, Keem, a rematch from a Thanksgiving week, matchup where Notre Dame was up by 18, 20 points. Hannah Hidalgo and Olivia Miles going behind the back, behind the head, no look, high-fiving each other, throwing off the glass. And then Kadona Prince block. Haley Van Lift, 3. They kicking it out. The other girls can shoot threes.
Right.
They coming back. Before you know it, 8-point game, 7-point game. TCU takes the lead. So Donna Prince had a monster game. They had a great comeback, and TCU ended up winning that game over the break, Thanksgiving break. However, I think Notre Dame remembers that. And if they're as mad as you say they are about being a 3 seed, I think they're mad about that as well, and they're going to take that personally and come out on top and not take their foot off the gas this time. I got Notre Dame winning. And now for the final one of Sweet 16, Texas and Tennessee.
Texas and Tennessee. I sort of have as I said earlier, I do have somewhat of a soft spot for Tennessee because of Talasia, but Texas. I mean, Texas is just too talented. We know exactly how good they are. We obviously, just everything that they've done this year. So I got Texas to the Elite Eight.
The only team better than Texas and the SEC, hands down, I think is South Carolina. So with that being said, I got Texas beating Tennessee. Okay.
And Texas beat South Carolina earlier in the season, even though it was only by 4 points.
Yeah. All right. Moving to the Elite Eight now. South Carolina and Duke.
South Carolina and Duke. As I said earlier, I think Duke is a team that can give South Carolina a scare. There have been a few teams that have been giving South Carolina a scare this year, and a couple of them are even able to get wins over South Carolina. I think Duke can give them a game, but I'm not so sure if I can give them the win. Because like I said, South Carolina, they're battle tested. They're battle tested in these big games, and they know how to win in March. I got South Carolina to the Final Four.
It's a well-oiled machine. Raven Johnson's a leader, everything like that. A lot of people make jokes about her stats, and I feel like if you make jokes about the stats all the time, it's kind of just like you just don't watch the games.
Very much so.
Johnson's a winner.
They weren't making stats last year when she was that Caitlin stopper in the Natty.
There it is. So I think with all of that, I got South Carolina winning that. UCLA, LSU.
Ooh, yeah, absolutely. We've been talking, this entire show about the cloud over LSU just being their healthiness. And I think it's probably going to be a situation where it catches up to LSU in the Elite Eight. I got UCLA going to the Final Four.
And this is a rematch. Like I said, last year, Flage skated over the team. She went off, had probably the best tournament offensive game of her career in the tournament, last year against UCLA. It's kind of like her breakout moment of like, this is the Flage that I was used to seeing at Sprayberry in high school offensively when it came to scoring and being aggressive because freshman year, she kind of just played in her role. She was SEC Freshman of the Year, but Kim Mulkey had her in a more reserved role with Alexis Morris and Angel Reese at the forefront. And last year, it was kind of like, okay, we're going to start putting the keys in Flage's hands because Angel isn't going to be here next year. And Flage's just done a great job of that this season. For a second there, it looked like she was going to go to the league this year, but she's holding off for another year to, be in college. And shout out Chris Hilton Jr. as well.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
The love of her life. He's gonna go to the league after next season. He's a junior as well, so I think they're gonna run it back one more year up there in Baton Rouge and stuff like that. But besides that, like you said, legs, bro, travel is gonna weigh on them. Last year they beat UCLA, but they also had Angel Reese, next to Nisa Morrow. Now it's just Nisa Morrow. Is that enough for Lauren Betts? I think, as we've seen in that Big Ten championship game, when Lauren Betts wants to be the best player on the court, she can. And I think Lauren Betts will be the difference in this game. That's why I have UCLA beating LSU. Okay. Now to the bottom half of the Elite Eight. These are two heaters. We got USC and UConn.
USC and UConn, and I was saying a little bit earlier about that one. Definitely going to be a marquee matchup, obviously, with Paige and JuJu. And I know it's tempting because to pick UConn because you want to see Paige get one championship before she's the number 1 overall draft pick into the league. But sorry, Paige, I got USC. I mean, SC already beat them earlier, even though that was with only a returning AZ FUD. But I see a big game for JuJu. I see a big game for Kiki. I got SC beating UConn.
I got UConn winning, man. UConn winning big 3.
Gotcha.
My big 3 versus your 2, maybe and a half. Hey, shout out to Kennedy Smith, man. That wasn't no slight to Kennedy Smith. I'm just entertainment, man. I respect Kennedy Smith. She's gonna have a great career. She's only a freshman. I got UConn. Notre Dame and Texas.
Notre Dame and Texas. You made a good point, man, a little bit earlier about how we don't know what Texas team that we're going to get. We don't know always what we're going to see out of Harmon and out of Booker and out of Oldacre. But one thing I think, like I said, we know on a game-by-game basis for the most part what we'll get out of Hidalgo and Miles. I got Notre Dame, Coach Nail Ivy, Notre Dame to the Final Four.
Shout out to Notre Dame, man. I guess I picked Notre Dame too. I don't even remember picking them. I guess I just did it because the same reason I just told you. I got Notre Dame. I got the dogs winning, man. All right. Final Four in Tampa. Shout out to David Shealy, Deacon David Shealy. And, yes, sir. So we got UCLA and UConn.
UCLA, UConn for you.
UCLA, USC.
USC for me. So yeah, absolutely. I mean, they've had UCLA and USA, they've had a couple of barn burners this year, and SC got the better of them the first time. UCLA got the better of them in the Big Ten championship. So we got the rubber match, and I like USC. I like USC over UCLA this time in Tampa.
I think if that's the matchup, I got USC as well. And then if it's UConn, UCLA, I got UConn again because hey, like at this point, like UConn they just still mad they number 2.
Yeah.
And then now the other side, South Carolina and Notre Dame.
South Carolina and Notre Dame for both of us, and and that too is going to be a marquee matchup, obviously. Because you got big name players obviously on both teams. But South Carolina is still South Carolina, and they know how to pull out these wins. So I like South Carolina over Notre Dame.
And shout out to Sonia Citron as well. I believe this is the end of her career. She's a senior, so
I believe so, and on a lot of draft boards too.
Yeah. I seen her on the draft boards all year, so you can assume, but you never want to fully assume. Let me check. She's a senior. Dang, time flies. But she never transferred. See, so she never transferred to anything like that. A lot of times when these kids transfer, you get an extra year of a grad year, you know what I'm saying? If you get a degree and then transfer or something like that. So her staying at Notre Dame all 4 years.
Yeah.
I remember her.
These redshirt years and these COVID years are something else.
Yeah, I remember her as a baby, man. But shout out to Sonia Citron, amazing college career. With that being said, it's over. Olivia Miles, great college career. With that being said, it's over.
See you in the Seattle Storm, Olivia.
Yeah, there. Y'all Diggins Smith, man. You're
Mm,
OG.
yep.
I got South Carolina, man. Okay. Now you got South Carolina USC. I got South Carolina UConn. Who do you
Mm.
have taking it all?
Oh, this is one that I've been going back and forth with for a pretty good bit of time. I will say this. Like I said, I do think Pow Pow is going to go on, a big run because she's on these draft boards. I think Pow Pow drops probably somewhere around 20. I think we get sometime somewhere around 15 to 20 each from Joyce and Lay. But I got SC. I got Southern Cal beating South Carolina. I think we get a big game from JuJu, big game from Kennedy, big game from Kiki. Really, really, like I said, obviously a marquee matchup. Who's the real USC? And they're going to be playing each other at the beginning of next year. The real, USC. So we're kind of get a preview of that possibly, but I think this is JuJu's year. I think this is JuJu's year, and I got Southern Cal beating South Carolina. I'm going to go final score 75-71.
Wow, King. Yeah, no. That's definitely huge. That's definitely huge. I was looking for if I could find the picture. I feel like they scratched it. Did they scratch all the photos off the internet? I was looking for a photo of JuJu when she was a recruit with Don. I looked it up. I don't see one photo. Like it was like I
You're right,
remember
because Dawn
JuJu.
tried to recruit her.
No, the SE was in her like final schools and stuff like that. I
Yeah.
asked her dad when she was at Sierra Canyon. Another thing that kind of makes me feel a bit on the older side. But like, and he was like, yeah, she's looking at a West Coast team, and I know South Carolina's looking at her as well. But she really, I think she's looking to stay out west. And look, stay out west, she did, and
Yep.
continue her LA legend legacy and things of that sort.
Mm.
But yeah, man, I say all of this to say if it's UConn and South Carolina, UConn beat South Carolina by 30 earlier this year in South Carolina. South Carolina is going to be mad about that. They're going to be turned up. They're going to be tuned in. With that being said, UConn still has more talent. Sarah Strong, AZ Fudd, Paige Bueckers, this close to a championship again, and she lost the championship game to South Carolina.
Yeah.
She lost. She remembers. She playing on one leg. She playing on half a leg. AZ Fudd won't even there yet. When AZ Fudd gets back, AZ Fudd playing on half a knee.
Yeah, just about.
This year, all the players are back. That's what L. Duncan said. And when she asked Paige about it, Paige had the straight face. She said, "Don't you dare speak that over my life. We are this close. We're not going to have you speak this over our life and jinx us right now." She said, "My bad, Paige."
I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean, wouldn't that be a way to go out and go into the league as a champion? Absolutely.
They said in order to be UConn legend, you need a national championship. They got 11 of them.
Yep.
Oriema got 11 of them.
Yep.
You need at least one.
You want to be in that same conversation with Diana Taurasi, with Maya Moore, with Stewie? I mean, honestly, you're right.
They said you need
Tina Charles.
I think she gets this one right. Sue Bird. I think she gets
Sue Bird. Yeah.
Cash.
I
think she gets this one here, man. Hey, salute. Hey, King, we appreciate the time so much. I know it's 11:35 on that end. I've been yawning for the past 30 minutes. My brother, as always, it's always good to bring you on every single year at this time. Let me submit my bracket because I made a change. Okay, so now it's saved. But yeah, man, where can the people find you, everything like that on social media?
Absolutely. So you can find me at Akiem Bailum, AKIEM on X and Blue Sky. And you can also find me Akiem Bailum _, on Instagram, as well as read my work for BeyondTheW.com, read my work for Prep Girls Hoops. I'm all over the place. I'm just and also check out my I'm also doing the whole audiobook thing. I got the audiobook, The Nubian Man Power to the People. So yeah, I'm all over the place.
Yeah, King, congrats on the audiobook, man. Congrats on the audiobook. This is my first time speaking to you since then. Obviously we congratulate you in a group chat and stuff like that, but it's different out loud verbally and stuff like that.
Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely,
Big
absolutely,
things
and
for
definitely
sure.
gotta give you your flowers on making the big move to Louisiana. Obviously staying grounded, not spending too much time out there amongst those folks. Those drunk folks on a Friday or Saturday night, just doing what you got to do, man.
No, I appreciate that. I appreciate that, Keem. Yeah, man. Hey, it is what it is, bro. But all
Yeah.
right, everybody. Until next time, as always, I'm Rashad Milligan. This is the road to 5K subs. This is Akiem Bailum. He comes on every single year to do this with me, and I appreciate his time. Until next time, y'all enjoy the basketball. We had some good games on the men's side already in the NIT and the first four. Hopefully, we get the same thing on the women's side. And until next time, peace out.
And snaps for losers, man. I don't get involved in that stuff, but.
Enjoy Rashad Milligan rolling out.
That's a good question.
We can't ask Rashad questions.
Hey, Rashad.